In this video, I'll show you how you can build an AI agent that's going to save you hours every week automating your sales outreach. And make sure you stick around to the end where I'll show you a separate AI agent you can pair with this one that's going to automate the back and forward email negotiation with your leads. We're going to be building this in a platform called Lindy AI. Lindy makes it really easy to build automation workflows that use AI agents. So we can completely automate tasks like prospecting and outreach without writing any code. There's a couple of ways you can get started with Lindy. You can either start with a template or you can type in here what it is you're trying to build and Lindy will have a go at building that workflow for you. It's a little bit like vibe coding for AI automation. In this case though, we're going to start with a template because Lindy has a pretty decent lead outreach template. So I'm going to add this to my account. So here we've got our lead outreach template. I'll just briefly explain what's going on here. So this workflow gets triggered when we add a new row to a Google Sheet. So we're going to need to create a Google Sheet that lists all the prospects we want to do outreach to. We're then going to send each prospect an email, wait for 3 days, and if we haven't heard back from them, we'll send a second and then a third outreach email to each lead. If at any point we hear back from a lead, they respond to an email, we cancel this workflow and send a notification to us on Slack. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. We'll get rid of some of these annotations and we're going to go through and populate this with a few messages. So when you click into any of these, you can see how each step is configured. So for example, here, we need to enter in the spreadsheet ID and title. So I'm just going to get the ID of my Google Sheet. We'll pop that in there. So next we need to add our email templates. So if we click into each of these, we can see that there's an example template. So I'm just going to replace these with the ones that I want to use. I'm doing this for a golf booking platform that I've built. So we've got the first outreach email, and we've got the second outreach email. So I'm just going to replace it here. There we go. So I don't really want to get notified on Slack, so I'm just going to change how this is going to notify me. So I'm going to use the Lindy notification. Just send a Lindy mail, that would be fine. So I'll use the same prompt and that message, and we'll just connect that there instead. Perfect. So that's changed that. So now it's just going to email me when this is done. And now all we need to do is give this a bit of a test. I've added just some basic dummy information into a Google Sheet, just a single line. So we go up here, click test, new row added. We can see we've got a couple of rows. So if we click that, let's see what happened. Okay, so it's writing the first outreach email. It would now be doing its wait, but we can skip the wait. Okay, 3 emails sent. So if we head over to my inbox, we can see that 3 emails have successfully been triggered. So at a very basic level, this is now working. We can add leads to that spreadsheet and it's actually going to trigger emails to them. Now, we could leave it here and we have a very basic kind of lead outreacher that is automated, but there's so many different directions that we could take to improve this and enhance it so that it works a little bit better. We could expand the drip campaign, add more emails to it. We could add filters and conditions to make the emails more personalized. We could just improve the prompts, improve the templates, and all that is going to make a difference. But I'm going to focus on 2 specific improvements that I think lend themselves towards AI, making this a lot more effective. So the first one I want to focus on is around improving the prospecting. Now, you may have seen the video that I did around building an AI SDR where we built out this workflow. So this is basically going out, doing some research on a company, finding all the relevant leads, and then doing some detailed research on the leads. Now, in the video we did on this, we ended this sequence by sending a cold outreach email. But what we could do is instead of doing that, we could add all that information to the Google Sheet we just created and use this as basically a feeder to automate prospecting for the lead outreach sequence we just built. So this one could basically fill the sheet, and then the one that we just created could then actually trigger the emails. So in order to do that, basically all you do is right click, add an action to create a Google Sheet row. So yeah, append a row. So select spreadsheet. In addition to writing the email draft, you could just do that. And all that's going to do is add a new row to the Google Sheet. The other thing that I would recommend doing is automating the email negotiation back and forward with the leads, because when we activate this sequence, we're going to be sending out a lot of emails. We're likely going to start to get quite a few emails in response from our prospects. So another agent I would recommend adding into this is the email negotiator template, which is really good. We go here and type in negotiator. So if we add this template to our account, we're going to get something like this. I'm not going to go through in this video and kind of connect everything up, but at a very high level, basically when you get an email from one of your leads, when they've responded back to you, we're going to look through a knowledge base. This is going to contain a bunch of information about how you want to respond to your leads. It's then going to write a draft email, and then we've got an AI agent here who's prompted to negotiate back and forward. So this is going to take a lot of customization to fit your needs and fit the kind of negotiation that you want to have with your leads. But we're leaving it up to the AI agent to make those decisions and then respond on your behalf. In combination, those three agents, the prospector, the outreach, and the negotiator, means that you can pretty much automate a vast amount of your sales process within Lindy. Now, if you've got any questions about this workflow or automating your sales process with AI, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you want to learn more about Lindy, you can watch this video where I tested Lindy with 12 different automations.